happy Saturday. What's going on? I'm just going to dive in. We're just going to dive in. Hopefully my pedal or my so last week when I started, I had my this microphone's cable was sitting on the power brick for my light and gave off a horrible buzzing sound. I have addressed that temporarily. I got to find a better way to lay this cable. But anyway, that's a thing. So, yeah, let's just dive into these Feuillard exercises. Let's see. I just looked at this and then I forgot what I looked at. I did fourth position, number 1 at 80 beats per minute. Just going to do let's do. So we're going to go back to first position now. And then also, I'm going to do. Use this vibrating metronome instead of the beepy metronome today, just for variety's sake. This is in 4. What's up, DCS Deep? Teary. My head is in 3, but I want to play this in 4. Let's see, that's in halftime. Why is my brain having a difficult time with this? Let's change the tempo. Yeah, see, that's too slow. That's maybe why my brain is having trouble with it. Let's speed it up. It's too slow. So what I was doing, why I've been messing with the tempo on these, is because this is 16th notes, but then the other variations get faster. So in theory, if I just like keep changing the tempo of my metronome all the time, then I'm just playing effectively. Regardless of how I'm reading it, effectively I'm just playing the same tempo all the time. So I wanted to do. This one is in 16th notes. The next variation is in 16th notes, but it's in 3 instead of in 4. And then, and then the next batch is in 32nd notes. So like in theory, this should be slower. So let's take it back. Let's take it back to 80 where I had it. just check something real quick here on my settings. The volume seems a little quiet from my end. What's up, Daniel, over on YouTube? Are you, he says, whoops, stupid social media app I downloaded has it wrong. This is YouTube. Yes. Yes, Daniel, you are at YouTube right now. You were at YouTube. If you meant to be not at YouTube, perhaps at Twitch, you are not at Twitch. You are at YouTube. Hello. Yes, you are everywhere. What's up, Nivex? Everybody go give Daniel a follow. I think most of you know Daniel, but on YouTube also. Follow him on YouTube as well. Because he plays the guitar real good. And he plays other things. He plays the bass pretty good too, actually. And he plays other things too. But those are the things. Those are the big things. The things that he is known for. And silly videos. Making silly videos. which is why you should definitely subscribe on YouTube. Okay, what are we doing now with this one? Okay, I've been going through these Feuillard exercises that many of you have seen me do many times on stream. Thank you. I'm trying like organizing myself a little bit differently than I have before in terms of which ones I'm doing when. And I was just like a little overwhelmed. So I asked my teacher 2 weeks ago, like, hey, like what, I know you told me to do like one per section, you know, every practice session, but like, how do you make sure that you're doing the right things? And he was like, well, just go through them sequentially. But the problem comes in is when you get to some of the, like when you get to number 7, or actually it's 6, that's a little tricky. But I guess it's perfectly acceptable to take like a month to get through the whole section. So that was a piece that was very helpful to me. Is like, okay, so you get through because like number 2 there's 31 exercises it's 31 variations in number 2. So, we did 16 yesterday, so today we're going to do 17. And I got that at 96. We'll see if that's too fast or not. Let me just see. Check my notes here. 96 could go slower, so we'll do 92. Oh. I did a thing that I didn't mean to do. There we go. There. They're all equal. They're all vibrating at an equal strength now. Wait till you see my Irish tin whistle soprano sax stream. I plan to shout you out nonstop in it. Make sure you let me know when that stream is so that I can make sure that I am not watching it. Soprano sax that's real hard for me. That's a real hard instrument for me to listen to. Drop that down a little bit more actually, because like we'll drop it to 90, because I feel like when I get to I feel like I'm okay on the A string, but when I get to the C string it's going to be harder, so we'll just slow it down a little bit to 90. Okay, that's enough of that one. I'll write that down. $17 at 90. Okay. Now, what are we doing for number 3? What's up, Learn Music? Everybody go follow Learn Music. I need to just like make you a button on my stream deck. This is what I need to do, Learn Music. Welcome in, TC. Or T Cooper. Welcome in. Let's see. Daniel says, you know what's funny? That exercise you were playing is a metal riff. I mean, it probably... So, interesting thing, Daniel. When we get into some of these shifting exercises, I think I'm going to turn some of them into like a loop or like some kind of foundation for improv, because there's some dissonance in some of these that is really interesting to me. And I just have to remember to like make a note as to which ones that is so that I can actually like play some stuff. Let's see here. I think I have a button. Yes. So I am doing Feuillard's daily exercises for cello, and that is the link in the chat goes to a public domain copy of this work. So that's what we're doing. This is and I'm into section 3 or chapter 3. I don't know. First shifting from first to second position. You're learning cello. How long have you been playing? How long have you been learning? I started in 2020, so I'm still very much learning, but I've been told I've passed the beginner stage and now I've hit the intermediate stage. Let's see. Okay, so what we're doing, number 9 here. And all right, so this one goes. Daniel says, I forgot to tell you I got challenged by an insecure guitarist in another stream for helping out someone trying to learn guitar. Oh, interesting. You're in music ed and learning strings now. Oh, cool. There's the viola is a fine instrument. It's a fine instrument. Trombone player, nice. iBlinks, nice to see you. Thank you for the resub. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. It's good to see you. Okay, so if we do this, we're doing number 9. So I want to just hear it first. So I'm gonna get a drone because we're shifting up to D sharp. I want to get a D sharp going. Not that D sharp. That D sharp. That's much nicer. What's up, Sketty Sandwich? Is that right? There it is. Okay, let me turn that off. I think, oops, not that, didn't turn it off. I think I got it. I definitely recommend renting. You're just in between cellos right now, right? Is that, am I remembering that correctly? Let's do that. It's supposed to be one all in one bow. that's number 9. Let me write that down. I do want to do these with a metronome at some point, but I think it's too much. It becomes too much for me to think about as I'm first kind of going through these. I think next month I'll do them with a metronome, like once I get back to the start. Okay, here's number 4. Let's see, so Daniel says, what did I miss here? Daniel's telling his story, slowly telling his story in chat. So somebody gave him crap for teaching, basically. They had their 3rd and 4th instrument reversed when doing a bar chord, and I said, if you switch those 2 finger positions, it will make chord transitions so much easier. This is random. Nobody says, there's more than one way to play it. I know more than you do. I mean, okay. Fun times in Twitch chat, I see, Daniel. So T. Cooper says, what's your first instrument? My first instrument, the one that I started playing first, is violin. And then I took guitar lessons a few years after I started playing violin. And then years later, I started playing cello. Years later. Okay, Sketty, so you're new. You'd be new to cello. Yeah, it's definitely get a teacher. So even having a violin background, the cello is backwards from a violin. On a cello, your high string is the farthest one away from you. On a violin, your high string is the closest one to your bow hand. So it's backwards. It's backwards. So yeah, would get a teacher. Yeah. So I mean, they're just different instruments. I like them both. I'm way rusty on violin right now. But I went to VGM Con, Video Game Music Con, 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And last year I brought my violin with me. And this year I brought my cello. I left my violin at home and I brought a cello and a guitar. I brought this cello and one of my acoustic guitars. And so to answer your question, from that experience right now, I found it less stressful to be playing a bass instrument in an unstructured or very lightly structured sort of improvisational group playing situation, because if you have a violin, it's often a melody instrument, or violins often play a lot of notes. And so I felt like there was a bit more pressure to, like, I was asked more often to like take a solo or something, and I'm like, like I just don't like. I'm a classical player, and I'm trying to learn how to improvise, and I have some improvisation, training and practice from the guitar side of things. But I was like, it was a little bit more stressful. I felt, given where I am today as a musician, and like where I'm rehearsed or more practiced at, and where I'm comfortable to play. I'm more comfortable on cello in that situation, because on cello I could just like. I could just drop some nice, long, slow bass notes, and things to play along, or like to follow the bass player if there was a bass player in the group and stuff. It was just like way less stressful. So that's how I'll answer that question. See, T. Cooper says, "Oh, I don't know why I never realized that about the high string." So I didn't realize. It was like a light bulb moment for me, probably about 6 months into playing cello. And you know how there's that, if you've ever seen Spaceballs, and there's the transporter scene where they transport President Scrooge from one room to another because it's Spaceballs, and he comes out and his butt is in the front, and his butt is in the front, his head's on backwards. And that was what it felt like to me when I finally realized, oh, they're backwards. I felt like I was President Scrooge, and my butt was in the front. So, yeah. Yeah, it was just like, it just hadn't occurred to me because I was in cello mode. See, Daniel says, here's a pro tip. Always store your violin in a viola case. That way it'll never get stolen. You'll love this, Daniel. So I have my Gibson SG in an Epiphone case for that very reason. For that very reason. The friend at the time that went with me to go buy a case was like, well, so that actually isn't the reason why I bought an Epiphone case instead of a Gibson case. It's because they're the same damn case. It's just the Epiphone case was cheaper. I was like, what's the... And then my friend sort of half-jokingly mentioned the security feature of the between the different brands. Yes. Anyway. We love violas here, and we love our viola friends, our C-string friends. So just remember that. Just remember that. Yeah, see, Epiphone cases are cheaper. Yes, it was cheaper. Exactly. Okay, so what are we doing? What are we doing on this one? The Gibson tax. I have like a very like strong attachment to Les Paul for reasons I won't get into here. But he's from Wisconsin. I'm from Wisconsin, from southeastern Wisconsin. So there's some sort of connections there. T. Cooper says they all have a place and a time. Yes, that's fair. Okay, so we're doing 8. We did 8 and 33 yesterday, and I can do 60 when in 3. So what's 9? 9 is in 4. See, Gibson now owns Mesa Boogie, and they're about to ruin them too. Almost every amp head is now $3,800 to $4,200. Yikes! Before Gibson, $1,500 to $2,400. Well, is that a bigger price uplift than we've seen just generally across like gear, or you know what I mean? Because like, I mean, you can't really compare, any prices in 2025 to anything else because that's. Things are weird. Things are very weird right now, and unpredictable. So there's that. But, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna do 60. Let's see if we can do 60 when we're in 4. Okay, so this one. So 9 sounds like this. So this is shifting from first to third position. See them go up to, whoa. Is that an E? Yeah, that's an E. What does an E sound like? That's what an E sounds like. So we've got, what is this going on? What is this nonsense going on here? So we've got, I don't think I've done this one before. Let me turn this off because that's distracting. Oh, wait, that's an F. That's not an E. That's an... Wait. Too many ledger lines. I've been going back and forth between tenor and bass clef, and it's scrambled my brains. So I'm practicing. I'm just practicing, but I do have, theoretically, I have a recital coming up that I am trying to get ready for. But this is just like my regular, like, technique practice. Trombone is in... Trombone's in bass clef, right? You don't play in tenor clef, do you? Wait a minute. Hang on. What am I doing? This is in half position. no, that's an E. That is definitely an E, and an E and an F sharp. Okay, I'm gonna have to write. I'm gonna have to doodle on my thing here. See, there are some parts in tenor, but bass generally. I thought it was mostly bass. Terrible at tenor. And so there's a hack for cello, because like it's tuned in fifths. So in terms of the fingerings, you just move over one string, is how you can think about it when you're in tenor clef. So, so the top space in the staff in bass clef is the fourth finger on the D string, and if you're in tenor clef, it's the fourth finger on the A string. But so that's like a little cheat, and that was another light bulb moment when my teacher. I didn't figure that out myself. My teacher told me that, and I was like, oh my gosh, you've just unlocked the secrets of the universe here. Okay, so this is half position. So that's there. What's going on there? And that's an E and a D sharp. And then this is an F sharp. So that's a 3. That's a 4. And that's a 2. Okay. Let's see if making it bigger on my screen and doodling on things makes this better. Yep, that was right. Let me turn that E back on now. Where is You are a 4. So when I'm shifting, I should be shifting for this particular exercise. I should be shifting on my first finger and then sticking my second finger on that shift. Okay. So we did 9, and what's the other one? There's another one in this section. 34. Okay. Let's see. Something weird around where I am. Most venues and bars that still allow live music will only let you play if you have a digital amp of some kind, like a Kemper, Axe, FX, etc. They no longer want real amps on stage. Oh, that's weird. Like, what kind of venues? Like, well, you said bars. So, like venues that have like touring bands, or venues that just have like local talent, or like, it sounds like small places, it seems like, maybe. I mean, it's a pain in the butt speaking as a promoter. It's a pain in the butt to deal with amps And well, really, the amps aren't the problem. The problem, not the problem, because live drums sound great, but live drums are, if there's a live drummer, it makes the sound check go a lot longer. A lot longer. Let's see. So why not just put your first finger instead of second? So in this particular instance, this is that's a shifting exercise to exercise a specific combination of fingers. So that's what all of these are. Is they're going through basically like all of the different combinations of and all the different techniques that you need for shifting between one position and another, from one finger to another and stuff. And there's a lot of different ways to do that, so that when you're in the middle of actually playing a piece or something, there's certain combinations make more sense to do. So that's why. That's why. So that was first to third position. So this is first position. Third position is here. So this is an open A. In third position, my first finger is on a D. Drums usually have to be behind a plastic shield wall. I've not seen that. Like, that's not a thing that happens here in Minneapolis that I'm aware of. But I don't go out to very many shows these days. I only know 2 places that allow original music now. Everywhere else is closed or cover bands only. Oh, that sucks. But we're a pretty good music town, I would say, Minneapolis. Let's see, 34, right? 34 is okay. So. Interesting. All right. These are not supposed to sound like anything, by the way, in case you were wondering what kind of weird experimental music this is. It's not even music. It's just exercises. Brother and his family live in Eagan. I'm familiar with Eagan. I lived in Eagan for a year. When I left college, I was like, I need an apartment that's not like 100 years old with ninja-proof, like, and I'm done with the ninja-proof floors, the ninja-proof hardwood floors, and like, I just want like a garbage disposal and like a dishwasher and you know, like things that come in construction that's built more recently and that isn't super old. I was just like, I need something, yeah. See, if you show up and ask to play, they say it'll probably be 90 minutes before we can get you on. So these are like open mic night type things. Got a bunch of those 100-year-old apartments too, asking for $1,200 a month. I mean, like, and in like, you know, in a student area, I don't know how much those go for now because I've been in the same place for 17 years. Right? So we got C sharp. Are you an F sharp? You're supposed to be an F sharp. That's a G. That is not an F sharp. What finger am I supposed to play that with, though? I just shifted too far. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna have to write stuff down. What's up, Cathedora? I take it. Were you streaming tonight? Did you do the thing or did you not do the thing? see, Daniel says one place I found. So T. Cooper says, how long are you planning on streaming tonight? I got to run, but might catch you a bit later. I'll be on for a while longer, like probably about, at least an hour and a half, maybe more. We'll see how much chatting we do and how much playing we do and how tired I get. But thanks for hanging out, and maybe we'll see you later. And by the way, everybody go follow Cathedora because they are amazing, and they are coming up on their 3-year affiliate anniversary, if you can believe that, which we were talking about earlier. Wait, you streamed? Was it this? No, I was there this morning. I was there, or I was in bed with my iPad, like hanging out in your stream. That feels like so long ago. Time is so confusing. So confusing. I remember you mentioning that you might have a thing tonight when we were trying to coordinate schedules on stuff, and then I got very confused. I'm very confused a lot these days, just... So, okay, we were gonna doodle. Oh, how did I get there? I don't want that. It fast forwarded me to a page that I don't need to be there. Okay, so I need to doodle on my music. We're on number 4, right? We're on number 4. Oh, and this was 34. So we're on this page, 34. So that's a 4. And then that's a 3. And then this is, are you a regular 4? You're a regular 4. Right? Because we've got D sharp and then, wait a minute. Yeah, D sharp and then F sharp. So, yes, you're a regular 4. And then you are a 2 because we're at D sharp. Okay. I got it now, I think. Oh, yeah, that was why I left Nivex, because you showed up. I was like, I am out of here. That Nivex person is here. No, I had a tight time schedule. I needed to get my run in because I went and got boba with one of my friends, and she was also on a tight time schedule. Are you an F sharp? I'm gonna have to just put the F sharp on a drone. You are an F sharp. That's not an F sharp, that's a G. Kind of a G. Seeing as you've met me in real life and haven't banned me yet. I've met Daniel in real life too, and I haven't banned him yet either, and so that might that might make you question my judgment. What's up, Alpha? I didn't plan ahead and save my bow. See, really, I should have a D sharp. Okay. Did not spend 15 minutes on that. Let's add, okay. All right, so we did, what did we do? I've forgotten already. 8 and 33. We did 9 and 34. Trip got banned from a place. Yeah, I was in Danielstown, and we had a really wild lunch at a fast casual restaurant on the patio. That's okay. So number 5. Are we on number 5? Yes. So we're doing 5, 25, and 45. So my teacher told me to just do one or maybe 2 a day, but like I'm never going to get through. There's section 5, there's 63 exercises. So I mean, I guess if I did 2 a day, it'd be fine, but there's 3 sections. I was like, well, I know my teacher said 1 or 2, but we're going to do 3. So we're going to do 6, 26, and 46. Okay, so 6, and these are in 5. And this is in tenor clef. So we're shifting up to an F sharp again. That's convenient. Daniel and I might be embellishing a bit. Might be a fish story, Alpha. It might be a fish story. Wait, is that right? I just did this one, but that's right. Whatever. See, I'm doing these a little bit too slow to play them all with one bow, which is how it's written. Nivex is a fish story, so nobody has a beef with you, or are you just too chicken to tell us? I'm kind of hungry, Nivex, so those food reference, I mean, I know I started it, but man, I could go for a sandwich right now. Yeah, I can't make that work this slow. Your oven just went off, Sketty. Well, have a good whatever it is you're making in the oven. 26 goes like this. So this is second to fourth position. Going up to a G. You can usually tell because of the overtones. With the open strings, if you play a note that is an octave equal to or an octave different than the open strings will ring. So you have extra ringing, and you can tell it, you can feel it, and you can hear it. So that's how you know you're in tune on this note. You won't discuss what's in your oven, thank you. I hope it's delicious, whatever it is that you're not going to talk about. Which one are we? We're doing 26. So let's try and do these with more notes in a bow. Daniel says we got all hyped up and broke one of the canopies over our table. It didn't work. So we said, screw this umbrella, and we went Hulk Hogan on it. And, you know, in hindsight, that was probably not a good idea because we both got pretty sunburned after that. Then Trips fled to a concert to smash people in the pit, and I ran away. I was the one bit I did go to a concert, but yeah, I was on tour to see Garbage, and that was why I was in Daniel's part of the world. Get better at bow management. 46. Okay, so this one is going from third to fourth position, so it's a smaller shift. The shifts are getting smaller here. So here. This is an extension. So we go up to a G sharp there. Let's get us a G sharp drone so I know what to shoot for. then we've got G sharp, and then F sharp, which is a whole step away. F sharp, and then an E. So this is extended. This is going from extended to extended position. So extended position, by that I mean my fingers will look like this instead of like that. So my first finger is a stretch. I'm overshooting it. Hang on. What am I doing? I'm doing something weird. Okay, so it's a whole step shift. Okay. We did all of the thing. We did 3. 6. 26. And 46. And if we go to number 6 here, this is the one that I have trouble with because there's there's 3 lines of music for every section, for every type of shift. So we go from 1st to 5th position, then we go from 2nd to 5th, then we go from 3rd to 5th, and then we go from 4th to 5th. There's 52 exercises. So we're doing 3, and so we did 3 and 17 yesterday. So today we will do 4 and 18. And in theory, there's 52 exercises. In theory, I should be able to get through them in a month. I practice 6 days a week, so I should be able to get through them in about a month. Four and 18. So 4. So this is a big shift. This is in tenor clef. That's what we're aiming for. That's what we're aiming for. Let's do more notes per bow. Okay, I didn't start my timer. So let's add 2 minutes. And then we want to do 18. So 18 is in second position to fifth position. So we're here. So we've got a D flat and an E flat. And then that must be a C natural. So we're in regular position, not extended position. And we're shifting up to an A flat. And these are in 5. So we've got let me get an A flat going. That was a half step too low. So I am actually purposefully sliding there, but I didn't start my timer there. We'll add. Let's just do this. Call that 3 minutes. And okay, that was 18. So we did 4 and 18. Sure feels like it's going to take forever to get through these. But that's fine, I guess. All right, 7. So this is first to sixth position. So in this one, so it's only got 2 lines for each position shift. So I'm just doing them in sequential order, because if I do 2, there's 46 total. So if I do 2 per day, then that'll get me around in less than a month. Okay, so we're doing 9 and 10, which will be the conclusion to the 1st to 6th position. So here, oh, and this is on, 9 is on the G string. That reminds me of the theme song for the TV show Moonlighting. When we go up to an A here, I don't know where an A is. So an A is so far up here. So we're going up there. And it's extended. See how this is where your fingers are very, very far apart here on the cello. It's not quite the farthest, the biggest stretch on the cello. Wait, is it? No, because we're in 6th position, so it's a little bit. So my fingers are a little bit closer together than they would be in 5th position, but it's still a pretty big stretch. So let me do it with 1 note per bow. Let's start this thing here. Let's do an A. Let's just get an A. And here the trick is I have to prepare. So I should start up. Coming in a little low. Let's try it all one bow. What's up, Rocker Man? Good to see you. I see you. Good to see you again, because I just saw you not too long ago. Okay, so number 10 here is on the C string. So it's the same. It's not quite the same because we're shifting up on to a C. Just finished dinner and we had pizza. Oh, we were just talking about, that sounds nice. We were just talking about how I'm hungry. Maybe I'll order a pizza later. Of course, the pizza places probably will be closed. No, I'm glad that you had pizza, Rocker Man. That's where it is. I don't need a drone because the harmonic will tell me where that note is. To be really good about getting my bow close to the bridge on that. Here, let me move the mic around a little bit. All right, well, that's the best. That's the best we're going to do. Let's try one note per, or one bow per thing. Okay, that's enough of that one. That's the end of that group of exercises. 9 and 10. Okay, and then I'm spending a lot of time on these, and like I need to spend, well, I could probably spend less time if I would listen to my teacher and just do one per thing. Okay. So 8, let's do this. We're almost done with these. Let's just do this in C. So I'm gonna do a C drone, not that C, that C. This is a new finger pattern. So I want to try and go up and down on this here. So that's it's mostly an intonation exercise, but it also, I should be doing that. So this is where it gets tricky when we talk about like, okay, I got a little overwhelmed with like the different variations and stuff, because you're supposed to do it in all of the keys. And so it's written in C, but you're supposed to go in all the way around the circle of fifths. So, and then there's 8 different. So we got 12 times 8 because there's 12 keys, and then there's 8 finger variations. Like there's 8 different finger patterns. So that's what 16, 96, right? See you later, Alpha. Enjoy. Thanks for stopping in and hanging out. So that's 96, plus then there's also different bowing variations. There are 20 different bowing variations. So if we had to take 96 times 20 is a lot. That is a lot. So that would be 100. So it would be, wait, 96 times 20? Oh my gosh, that's so many variations. There's so many possibilities. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I think what I would probably do is maybe go through all of the keys. Oh gosh. Maybe do the bowings like 1 per week or 1 per day. So like on the first of the month, you do 1 in C with the, oh, it's so many combinations, it makes my head hurt. It's so overwhelming. So I just haven't been doing any of those bowing variations. Like I just want to like get around to like the finger patterns, I do really want to get all of those kind of down. All 8 of them, or they're not just finger patterns, they're shifting patterns, because like it's so the number 1 is it's just, I guess the way that I'll say it is it goes just ascending, and then so and then back down, right? So you're just shifting up to the next note that is in the sequence. For the second pattern, it's so it's it starts in the middle, and then you go up, and then you go down. So you go from the middle note to the top note to the bottom note, and then you shift up to the top note. Or sorry, the middle note. So you're starting in the middle. And then the third one, you're starting on the same, you're starting here, but instead of playing the high note, you play the low note. So where 2 is, 3 is, and then 4 is, so it's descending. Then we go, and then we have so it's ascending 6 notes in a row. So it's like a lot, basically. It's a lot. But I want to get through all of the finger patterns and all of the keys, because I want to learn all of the keys. And then And then to get through the finger patterns, it gives me, it kind of flexes some, it's a good foundation for improv. So where you're playing these different finger patterns and whatever. So anyway, it's overwhelming. It is overwhelming. Okay. I'm gonna do double stops now. Or maybe not, actually. Maybe we're just going to be done with this. Let's just be done with this. Double stops are like the last thing. They're at the very end of the book. And I did ask my teacher, like, I want to work on double stops because I want to play other genres outside of classical. But, like, they're really hard on the body as you're building up the strength to play. So this is a double stop. And then this particular exercise is like this. You can see how that, I'm not going to do it actually, but you can see how that's hard. Hard, not necessarily hard from a technical perspective, although it is for me because I'm learning, but it's just hard from a, like, in terms of, it is just a hard on the body strength training exercise. All right, so I said we were going to do vibrato exercises. And we're going to do the vibrato exercises with Nina. So here, I'm going to do a little mix. So I have a recital coming up in theory. And the piece that I'm working on is the Elegie by Faure. I asked my teacher how to say it. What's up, Lau? Good to see you. Good to see you. I hope you're having a nice weekend. Yeah, so the Elegie is a very challenging piece for me at my level, and it's got a little bit of a lot of things in it, which is really great from a learning perspective. Like, I feel like when I'm working on that, I'm covering a lot of bases. There's a lot of, like, vibrato work and phrasing, and there's some fast stuff, and it's, yeah, anyway, so it's really, really good for me, but I've been working on it. I forgot to write down when I started playing it. I think I started playing it before the end of the year, and it's like a lot, and my recital is in June. So I've been working on it pretty hard, but it's a hard piece, and I think it's a little, like, my teacher doesn't like to cram for a recital, so I'm going to keep working on it, but I don't know if it'll be ready. My goal is to try and get the Elegie ready to perform at the next recital, but I don't know if I can do it. So I want to have a backup piece because I don't want to just, like, be like, oh, well, I'm just not going to play in the recital because the piece isn't ready. I want to have something ready. So I was going to work on Nina again, which I've played on stream before. But what we're going to do, we're going to use it as a vibrato exercise. So I'm going to do my rotations, as we call them. Where's my... So what we're going to do is I'm going to be isolating... Turn a little bit. C Rocker says, do you listen to the rest of the music while practicing or just go solo? So when I'm practicing, usually it's like this, so it's just me. But when I'm getting ready for a performance, I play with an accompanist, so I do play with, like, a backing track to prepare to make sure that I know what the accompanist is going to be playing, because it can kind of throw you if you're like not expecting the accompanist to do something. For me, it can throw me off. So I want to practice with the accompaniment so I know what it's going to sound like, so I'm not, like, surprised when things happen. So that's kind of how I approach it. And then, like, at my lessons, sometimes my teacher, like, once I get the piece to a certain point where there's not, like, steam coming out my ears trying to, like, really, really think hard, the gears are turning really, really hard, where I get a piece to a point where I know it well enough that my teacher's not going to throw me off by playing along. He'll play along with me. He'll play the accompaniment part along with me. So here, what we're going to do, so basically I'm just using the notes in this piece as like a place to put my fingers. And then I'm going to isolate my shoulder. I'm going to just shrug my shoulder for a little bit. Now I'm going to rotate. Okay, so then we're going to go to, I don't want to stay on one finger for too long, but we're going to go through the different knuckles here, or the different joints. So now we're going to do an elbow. And then we'll do the wrist. Rotate it. Then I'm gonna go backwards now. I'm gonna go to my top knuckle. And then next knuckle, which is hard. And then the big knuckle. What's up, Argyle? You found any work playing cello or other musical instruments yet? I haven't been looking. This is the only work that I do. I have a full-time day job, so I'm not necessarily looking to play out for the monies. Let's see. Okay, so let's do. So the next note. Let's go through. I'm gonna not do this for super long, but I want to hit all of the fingers. See, Argyle says, I still haven't found any music work. It takes forever to get a job as a music teacher. Yeah, you have to be like accredited, and I mean just to like get the qualifications. It depends on like if you're in K-12, you need to be accredited usually and all that stuff. It's a whole thing. I could never teach. I mean, I could maybe teach individual lessons if I got good enough at some point, but there's no way that I would want to teach in a school. For me personally, that's just not an environment that I think I would thrive in. Think you would prefer to be a private music teacher? Yeah. I just don't do like I'm not around people under the age of like 25 very often these days, so it would be hard. But like one-on-one, I could handle. I mean, like with practice and stuff. I did coach, so I do have some experience with 7th through 12th grade as a sports coach, cross country ski coach. I'm rotating clockwise and counterclockwise. Oh, the pinky, this is going to be hard. This knuckle. My pinky locks. So it does some things that are not ideal sometimes. There we go. Try not to move my wrists. So let's just get into this piece. I'll just write down. Mostly I did this. We did D. Third position. All knuckles 1 and 4. Okay. Let's actually do this piece a little bit. So this is a piece that, like I said, I was working on for a while, mostly just to get my vibrato in shape, and it's helped a lot with that. I'm going to do this with this metronome. Let's work on this. It's a 4-2 and then a 4-3. See, it's a down bow. What's up, Jer? Thanks for the lurk. Good to see you. Everybody go follow Jer Roke. He's an amazing piano player. Plays a lot of video game music. But I got to hear him play on an acoustic piano at VGM Con, and it was so nice to be able to hear like on an electric piano, it's a little bit harder to get the dynamics and the phrasing and to really come through. And I got to hear him play a little bit on an acoustic piano at VGM Con, and to hear that phrasing and dynamics really come through was really fun. So have a good look, Jer. So here we're doing this. Your down bow. And this is, how loud is this going to be? So let's go back a little bit. See. So we start going back to the beginning here. I'm going to probably just play this first phrase a few times in a row. Okay, so that's the first. So basically, you play that main melody. That it gets played twice. The first time it's quiet, and the second time it's quieter. It's quiet and quieter, and then it's quieter and even quieter. And then we get to the loud part. So, but I do wanna maybe just loop through this and work on the dynamics and stuff. So okay, so I do remember how to play this. The vibrato's not too bad though. We will see how it looks on the recording. And this is super annoying. My monitor has a thing in the middle of the screen. I bumped one of the settings buttons because I turned the monitor to the side. There we go. Bumped one of the buttons, and then I got a thing in the middle of the screen where I was trying to watch. Okay, so then I want to work on actually specifically this part here. I'm going to skip a bunch of stuff. Let's do this with a drone. I want to see. It's the shift back down that I want to have a drone for. have this piece on paper. So probably should get it digitally so I don't have to keep going back and forth between paper and not paper. So we are here. Okay, let's see. G to G. It's going to sound really bad if I don't play it in tune because it's an octave. Oh, and the second time is quiet. So we're just going to do loud, quiet. Maybe we'll play it loud several times and then we'll play it quiet several times. So it starts loud and then there's a crescendo to get louder. So that's a whole thing. So the second time. Wait, do we want that up bow? No, that just crossed out a fingering. So the second time, the quiet time. So we start the up bow. I need to start near the frog. That's an A. Wait, no, we're in 10. Are we in? Yeah, that's. No, quiet. What's up, Luna? Nice to see you. Okay, so let's do that. The loud version and the soft version. So I want to work on that next part too. See, just spent an hour opening and sorting mail that hadn't been dealt with, so I'm glad to be sitting down taking a break from the chaos. Yeah, I hate that people mail me things. They mail me paper, and then I have to go and I have to go look in my mailbox, and I have to take the stuff back, and then I have to do something with it. And there's all this paper, and I use Paper Karma to get off of mailing lists and stuff. But like, even so, it's helped. After years of using it, it has definitely helped. But it's like, man, some stuff you can't tell if it's important or not. And then, like, the bank sends me a bunch of stuff all the time, and like, I gotta open that, make sure it's not actually, it's a whole thing. Not a fan. I like it when like my mom sends me a card or something, but jeez. See, you're up bow and then down bow. Yeah, it's it used to be free. I pay for a subscription now, but you like take a picture of your mail, and then it like figures out who to talk to get you off the list. I am still at it, T. Cooper. Good to see you. Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm actually playing music now. We're done with all the pure technique stuff. Let's do another part of this. Let's just do the second ending. So but do you start down bow or do you start? Let's just do that. Let's do that whole phrase again. All your stuff was official. Oh, that's worse, because then you actually you can't just look at it and be like, oh, this is a credit card offer, rip it up and throw it out. That's what I do. I was like, a credit card offer, rip, recycling. Yeah, okay, so that's down. That's a fourth finger. So let's work on that shift. Are we down? Welcome back, Rocker Man. Hey, spreading the love. No worries, rocker man. No worries. Does it call for that slide? Musically, it doesn't. So the sheet music doesn't have a slide in there specifically, but I kind of like it. We'll see what my teacher says about it, but. It kind of sounds. Right there. I like it with a little slide. I like it with a little slide. So that's how it ends. So this should be actually more dynamic range here. So this should be quiet. That should be louder. So let's play the second ending here, starting, we'll do the whole thing from the loud part. See, Rockman says, I'm kind of partial to Ghost. I love the vintage style of music, but the whole lore of the band, I'm not a huge fan of. I don't know too much about Ghost. I know some, like one of my London friends has seen Ghost a number of times. Oh, good question, T. Cooper. It is not. I mean, it is and it isn't. So it's very different on guitar, I will say. So it's different. It depends on what's, it's taught differently in and all that. So my teacher is a Dunas guy. So Dunas, his teacher was some fancy cello teacher that studied with Dunas. Or his primary teacher, the teacher that he his fancy teacher that he worked with for a long time. And so Dunas was a physician, actually. He was like a violin prodigy, and his parents wanted him to like get a real job, and this was in like he was around in like the, I don't remember when he was born, but like in the 20s, 30s, 40s, around there, 1920s, 30s, 40s. And so anyway, so he went to medical school, and he was actually a doctor. So he brought a lot of anatomy and physiology into his teaching. And he taught all the strings, he's probably better known as a violin teacher, but he taught violin, he taught viola, he taught cello. And yeah, Lau's a fairly experienced cellist, with some pretty deep background. So Dounis. And so like, especially like on cello, like, so on violin, you're up here. And so there's kind of two, people will talk about wrist vibrato versus arm vibrato, for violin. And it's good to be able to do both, and like have, that different tools in your toolkit for how you want to produce sound, and things like that. So, and I'm not super, like, I'm a violinist, but like my training wasn't super, like, it wasn't like, I didn't have I only took private lessons, like individual lessons, for a year. Most of it was like large group stuff. So I'm a very much a brute force violinist, and I don't have a lot of really good technique, or like a lot of really specific technique training. But it's different. It's, you're in a completely different position. I think violin vibrato tends to be faster. Not always. There's a nice wide violin vibrato too, but there are some things that are similar in terms of like, having flexible knuckles, if you will. But it's just different. And like I've even heard people like cellists in particular say that like violin will ruin your cello technique. I don't know if I would go that far, but I think they're different enough that, and the muscles are different enough that you may have some concern there. So, have a good night, DCS Deep. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. So I played violin from 4th grade through high school, so age 8 to 18. So it was elementary, middle, and high school. So the 1 year that I took individual lessons was 7th grade, so I was 12 or 13 in that ballpark. So with cello, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot like the way my teacher teaches. And again, he's from the Dunas school, which is, other people teach things differently. There's different ways to do things, and there's not necessarily, well, there are probably wrong ways, but there's a lot of different ways that are just different. So that's like, I think that the vibrato exercises that I do on cello, I could apply them to violin. But I think that they would be like, I think I could apply the concepts and like what you're trying to achieve to violin, but they would be using different muscles, I guess, is maybe how I would say it. So see, I guess one could be serious enough to not want to mess with the technique. Yeah, so it's the same. So I'm a multi-sport athlete too. So like Lau says, in general, playing multiple instruments will cause some technique crosstalk. You're training muscle memory to use different technique and have to train to use it in the correct context. Yeah. So like I was a pretty good athlete all through school, and I played basketball, fast pitch softball. The sports that I played seriously were basketball, fast pitch softball, cross country running, cross country skiing, and track. And some coaches didn't like that I did a lot of different sports. And even when I got into college, because I did cross country skiing and cross country and outdoor track, and 1 year I also did indoor track and cross country skiing in the same season. Even with doing those endurance sports, if it takes away, doing one takes away from the other, and it's just how it is. So I think that's, like there are also some things, like just from like a muscle training standpoint, there are also some things that cross over in helpful ways, like in terms of like mentally, and like you're, like learning, because you learn like music theory, or like just how music works together or stuff. Like I think it's personally, I'm biased because I'm kind of a mutt as it were. But there are some things that are helpful with having those different perspectives from different instruments and things. But yeah, from a physical and like in terms of like training the body and the mind to work with the body sort of perspective, like Lau was saying, there are definitely drawbacks and considerations. So see, T. Cooper says, I plan on teaching elementary. What would you tell your younger self now about learning violin? I mean, I was a terrible student. I was a terrible violin student. Like, I didn't practice. We were, by the time I got to high school, or I think 8th grade, we were playing 5. can't remember if it was 8th grade or 9th grade that we were playing we had class 5 days a week. So I was playing a lot, but I didn't practice. And so I think the biggest thing that I would have, had I had the motivation, like I was a multi-sport athlete. I was busy. I was good at school, I was a good student. I did a lot of activities. So I don't know that I would have gone back and done anything differently in terms of like the balance of all of those things that I was involved in. But like now coming in as a beginner cellist, my mindset is totally different because I said, hey, I want to actually learn this the right way. And my teacher's really good about helping me learn how to practice. Because even I took guitar lessons for 6 years from middle school and high school. And, my teachers would have taught, I wasn't a great student. Like I didn't practice like I am, like you're seeing now, and doing these repetitions and breaking things into small pieces. So I think that would be, I wouldn't necessarily go back and change anything. But I think as coming in as a beginner now as an adult, I am definitely more interested in really just being productive in the time that I spend. I'm actually just reading, let me pull up the book. I just bought a book. So I'm another music community, with JC Practices that he runs. And he's a classical guitarist, but he's like a hardcore hobbyist. He's not a professional. And in his community, there's like a bunch of nerds that are like really into, like, there's one person in there, and this is the person that recommended this book, is like super hard. Like he just like learns instruments, like that he just like a new instrument, like all the time. He's learning something new. Like he's just picking up the flute now. And, he plays piano, he plays classical guitar, and I don't know what all else. So anyway, it's called Learn Faster, Perform Better. I'll type this in the chat, by Molly Jebrian. And that talks a lot about, the author is a neuroscientist actually, but they're also, did they get a PhD in neuroscience? They have a PhD in, I think, in viola performance or violin performance. And then they also have a really, really deep neuroscience background as well. So it's really interesting to hear. I'm only like a couple chapters in, but the book came out last year, and it's framing things in a way that, I was a psych major, so this is all very interesting to me. But it's framing like practice in a way that's like leveraging psychology and neuroscience and stuff, which is really cool. So anyway, see, Jer says, thank you for your kind words about my playing earlier. That is one of the nicest things anyone has ever said about my playing. I mean, I noticed it. I told you in person too, like, but I noticed it when you were playing, like how, playing on that, it was a baby grand piano. Just like playing on that piano in that room, just, I could really hear, some of those, the phrasing and dynamics in particular come through in a way that you just don't always get on, an electric piano or like a MIDI keyboard or whatever. So, see, T Cooper, you're great. I love the music nerd talk. I love it. That's what we're here for. I'm here to practice, but I want to hang out too. Like I get less done on when I stream practice, but that's not the point. So, anyway. See, T. Cooper says, I want to do that, learn as many instruments as I can, and venture out to different cultures. Yeah. Music and science are connected for sure. My cello teacher, so he's also an athlete. He's He's a runner. He doesn't really run anymore, but he's also a cyclist. Even, he's like my parents' age. But he's still out there on his bike like all the time, and played baseball and stuff. And so he calls musicians athletes of the small muscles. And there's a lot of parallel between doing your technique work for, say, like for my example, for track. We did our technical dynamic warm-ups before practice every day. To work on, to not just to stretch and to warm up, but to work on some technique stuff. So there's a lot of crossover there as well, I think. And Mario, I don't think I said, saw you come in when I was playing, and I don't think I said hi to you. Hi, it's good to see you. It's very good to see you. And DJ Vegan in Black, it's good to see you as well. Everybody, please go follow DJ Vegan in Black. She has become a very good friend throughout all of this Twitch stuff when she started streaming, and based out of Chicago, spins a lot of dark, stompy, electronic music, dark wave, tribe vibe, as she likes to call it, is some of those more cross-pollination across genres and sounds and things. And last night was the Currents and Classics night, so we heard a little Crystal Method that I hadn't heard in a long time. So go give her a follow, and I'm like there all the time because I'm out there. So anyway, Mario says no worries, you were busy nerd talking, which I learned some of. Yeah, so Mario's learning guitar right now, so that's pretty cool. Let's see, Lau says to T. Cooper, that's wonderful. I really appreciate how many people of my generation in the classical world, that's the world I know, are exploring instruments and traditions outside the Western European and American classical and even folk traditions compared to the siloing of what I grew up with. Yeah, there's the classical world is interesting because there are people that are kind of very traditional, and that everything's kind of just like, this is, if this piece that was written in 1800 isn't played exactly like whoever intended to play it, like, you're doing it wrong and you should quit music forever, or whatever. And then there's more open-minded people out there as well, that there's this stereotype, but it is a thing in the classical world. Like, you run into people that are kind of just not into new ideas or whatever, which you run into in the world in general too. But that's one thing I appreciate about being in where I am in Minnesota. I feel like the Minnesota Orchestra as well as the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra are pretty interesting, and like, especially the Minnesota Orchestra are not sort of stuck in the past, and they do, like, they've done I have my Dessa record, it's up there. But like they do a lot of stuff. Like they did they put together a bunch of shows with Cloud Cult and with Dessa, who's a hip hop artist and a pop singer and a rapper, and like some of these things. And like the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra does a really good job of trying to bring people from the community in to appreciate all of this classical music, but they're not afraid of doing some more modern things too. So it's super cool. What's up, John? Good to see you, my cello friend. We got more cello friends. Let's see, the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra, I'm not sure. I think their website is the SPCO, the spco.org. I think it varies by performance and like what's on the program. The Minnesota Orchestra, I think, is bigger, just because it's a full symphony orchestra versus a chamber orchestra. But what's cool about the chamber orchestra is that it's musician-led, which means there's not a conductor. So like the concertmaster is the one that's typically leading the group, which is, I think, there's something really beautiful and poetic about, and egalitarian about, that sort of structure. Not that like, and then I am a bit of a Sarah Hicks fangirl. She's one of the conductors. She's not the she's one of the visiting. She worked with the Minnesota Orchestra, but she's not like their main conductor. But she does all like the pop stuff, and I I'm a Sarah Hicks fangirl. She's amazing. So anyway, everybody go follow John. Not only is he a cello friend, but he is a DJ, an artist. He's got a bunch of original music up on Bandcamp and all the other places that you listen to music. So go check out those links. I have some of that work in my Bandcamp collection. Highly recommend. Let's see. So anyway, okay. We want to get back. If you want to work on Nina a little bit more, let's just play this thing through, I guess. Let's just play it through. Let's see what this sounds like. This is the part I didn't practice. Right. I mean, I feel like that could be recital ready. What's up, Forked? Good to see you. Can't stay as I have to go do some mod work, but want to drop and say hello. Well, I appreciate you saying hi. I hope that that you have a lovely chat to mod, and I'll see you around. See you around. All right. Let's get into the Faure. Back to the iPad. Does it indicate the retake, or do you add those? So bowings typically are pretty sparsely noted. Typically, you'll start a measure on a down bow. That's just kind of like standard operating procedure is you start the measure on a down bow. That's not always how it goes. So the publisher will put in deviations from norm or where they feel strongly about that. But the bowings are often, depends on the circumstance, but like if you're in an orchestra, the conductor typically, or maybe the concertmaster, will specify some bowings, and they'll rely on various things, knowledge and of the period and how sort of their artistic vision for how the orchestra will perform this piece and all that stuff. So if I just pull up, if I pull up the Elegie here, there are, I'm just looking for, there are no bowings written. Like there's some slurs written in, but there are no like up bows and down bows written in on this. So like the musician just like will just, you should be able to sight read it. Lau says, would usually be the first chair of each section with input from the conductor or concertmaster as needed. Yeah, or at least that's my experience. Yeah, I was speaking from a very much a violin perspective. Also. So yeah, I forget, like, because I was mostly a first violin. I did play second violin, and I played third. Bach Brandenburg Concerto No. 3 has a third violin part, and I was a third violin for that. Well, here, I mean, I'll show you. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Let me turn down the brightness. Here, maybe I can. Let me just grab some sheet music that's got. Okay, so this is the paper version of the Elegie. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. My paper version, no. Too much glare from the lights. I write in a lot of stuff. I actually have to go in and clean up some of my. I have to go delete some stuff in the Elegie. I write them in. So typically, what I would do is, if it's totally cool to write stuff in as reminders, but like sometimes you're, like Lau was saying, let's say your section leader might change a bowing or something. You'll definitely want that written in, but there might be cases like, especially when I'm practicing, if there's a spot where I'm going to like start often and it's not what I would like, I have to like kind of go, like if I start, I'm like, wait, does that spot start down bow or up bow? And then end up having to count my bow strokes all the time from another marking, I'll just mark it in. But like, if you were like a professional in an orchestra, you'd probably only, for the most part, you'd probably only mark the bowings that were deviated from that usual pattern of having a down bow on the first note. Yeah, the section needs to be together. And again, this is another place where, Lau, if you want to chime in, don't feel obligated to, but if you do want to chime in, because you have got more experience than I do. But my orchestra director used to kind of not really threaten us, but she would say like, you get fired for playing your bow the wrong direction, which I would think is probably it might be a slight exaggeration, but it's probably not too far off. But I've never been in a professional orchestra. But yeah, the section plays as a group, so there might be a circumstance where like a soloist might have some different bowings because they're playing a slightly different part. But you'll watch even when the sections typically are together, but not necessarily every single note, because they're not necessarily playing the same bowings, but like they'll come together. Like it's really cool if you ever watch a recording of specifically Bach's Brandenburg Concerto No. 3, because because of the way it's written. You can watch, this is like my favorite thing about going to a performance of that piece, is because it's got first, second, and third violin parts. So the sections, like the instruments are broken up into more sections than is like normal, but also but also like you can watch. It's kind of like they're doing the wave, because you can. It's cool because you can watch when one section is doing a part, and then they kind of hand it off to the next section. Not exactly like a round, but kind of a little bit. But yeah, your bows are going to be together. Like your bows are going to absolutely be together with your section. And then they're going to be together across sections as well, with, with some variation in the middle, but they're always going to come back together. What's up, Stream Scribe? Good to see you. Oh, here. Do I have this handy? I think I do. Let's see here. I love these questions. I love how you're thinking about things. Let me see. Is it in here? It is in here. So check this out. Can you see this? You see that super sweet calligraphy work? That is Stream Scribe's work. We did a little thing together to sort of celebrate our friendship and our friends sessions with Serba, who passed away recently, and he did this really cool calligraphy for me on stream and sent it to me. I'm gonna put this over here. So go follow StreamScribe because he's awesome. And so it was I had done that interview with Sessions with Serba, which is up on my page, if you want to go take a look. Yeah, and then so yeah, take a look. Take a look and go hang out with the Stream Scribe. It was his idea to do a thing, and we did a thing, and it was very nice. It was very good. I miss him too. So anyway, I'm kind of stalling, but kind of not. Did I miss anything about? Oh yeah, so Lau dropped their 2 cents in about bow work. And how well, lots of pencil marks. In an orchestral context, especially at a university and more professional level where you might not have months to rehearse and practice the piece, in a solo or chamber context, you might have a heavily marked copy for rehearsal practice and a clean copy for performance that has the minimal marks you really need. Solo is usually played from memory, though. But a more experienced musician will have fewer marks. They'll really just mark things that deviate from their training or instincts. So you just eventually know is a function of overall experience, yeah. I wouldn't mark a downbeat down bow or an upbeat up bow at the start of a phrase, for example, but I would mark the opposite, or cases where I have to unexpectedly retake the bow, yeah. I got a lot of marks on this. But I don't have a lot. We changed some of the bowings from what's marked. So some of it is in, like, we changed where some of the slurs are in the elegy. So in that case, then it helps to have, like, if you're gonna change, like, here I'm looking at a measure where the printed copy has 3 notes slurred, and then my copy has the first 2 notes are a down bow, and then the third note is an up bow. So I have that up bow marked explicitly. See, that makes sense. You'll number your measures in professional orchestras. A lot of times the publisher, like this copy that I'm looking at here, I've got measure numbers at the beginning of each line. And like, so the publisher will do, what they think is reasonable and makes sense for, so you'll have measure numbers. Like, I'm sure this is the same in like in a context of other instruments as well. I personally wouldn't like add more measure numbers unless, because they'll have rehearsal marks too sometimes. But like if there was a particular like rehearsal mark, I would write it in. Yeah, published parts should have numbered measures. If there's no rehearsal marks, we'll reference the measure number in rehearsal or sectionals. Yeah. The conductor score is still going to have, the measures are still going to be the same in the conductor score. So your measure 4 in your individual part is like still going to be measure 4 in the conductor score. So the numbers won't be different. Like you might have rests, but for example, like this piece starts, I think this might be just because it ends the way that it ends. No, like I have, because this is a violin piano, or sorry, a cello piano duet. So there's, I have a measure of rest at the beginning of this piece. We just spend so much time counting measures between rehearsal numbers. Oh, the numbers at the beginning. Like this, yeah, I mean, you're going to have, the publisher is probably not going to just give you a score without any measure numbers. If there was a spot like where I would constantly come in, like where we were constantly rehearsing, I might just, like if you know, there's what, like 5 measures maybe on a line. Yeah. Anyway, all right, so let's work on vibrato a little bit to go through. I'm going to go through this middle section, and then I'm going to turn my page turning thing. We're going to do the half page turn because I need it. I'm learning to work my pedal, my page turn pedal. So we're going to go here. See how it says the worst is when the conductor is like, okay, let's start at measure 121, and the part is like measure 121, partway through a 30-bar rest. I'm like, wait, don't start now. You're asking me to do 2 mental arithmetic operations in like 5 seconds. Yeah. Yeah, that is a good use case for where you might want to write in a measure number. Okay, so I'm going to work on what I'm going to work on here. So this is the accompaniment. So this is a piece for cello and piano, and the part that I'm going to work on is actually the part where the piano takes the lead. But what I want to work on is I want to work on having a loose, being loose when I actually place my finger, and I want to have a decently wide vibrato. And I'm also going to have my metronome going at 72 because that's performance tempo, and I can play this part at performance tempo. Yeah, so Lau, we were talking about tempo a few weeks ago, and originally my teacher told me 66, but then he said 72, and I'm like, oh God. I think it's a little fast that way, but we're gonna try and get the fast parts up to that tempo just to say we did. You've performed it around there, but it's not my preference. Yeah, I think 66 is not too bad actually. 72 feels a little fast. Oh, the other thing that I wrote in my music grip, because I need to play quietly, but I still need to grab the string, which is I'm not entirely sure how to do that, but we'll figure it out. So let's just do that much. That's 3 measures. So I feel like I'm pretty tense. Pretty tense. Need to work on that. Let's see. Lau says, offhand, my 2 suggestions, the usual counting trick in 4/4 counting, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. And writing in entrance cues yourself if the part doesn't have cues, or just memorizing the cues so you can recognize when you're a few bars from an entrance. I did a lot of that playing in an orchestra. I did a lot of like making sure that I knew what the other parts around me were, because I'm really bad at counting, like super bad at counting. So if there was a section where there was a lot of rests, I made sure I knew what some of the other sections around me sounded like, so that if I lost track of counting, I would know, okay, when they do this thing, I've got 2 measures to go, or whatever. But you want to be careful about getting misled. Yep, if someone else misses their cue, so don't rely on one person, one section. Yep. It's the whole thing. Think it's easy, but for 50 measures of rest, oh no. Oh. Trying to think of, there was a piece, I don't remember what piece it was that like I had especially long amounts of rest, and like it was a whole thing. 50's a 50. Counting that many measures of rest is a lot. Okay, so let's start here. Okay, so I want to work on that transition between the two. So this is what the piano is doing. So the piano does it first, and then I do it. Entrance, I'm coming in a little too much like Hero Saving the Day, and that's not what this is. This is not Hero Saving the Day. This is a funeral piece, right? So this is my teacher used the word tender, but you're sort of remembering your friend, right, or whatever, remembering whoever this person is. You're remembering the good times. So it should be like kind of more like nostalgic, not I'm going to come in and save the princess kind of, which is how I've been, not purposefully, but like that's how I've been playing it. When was the last time you stretched? I'm terrible and I never stretch. I We'll do this. I am terrible. I like this. I like this one. Let's do this. You can't see what I'm doing. I'm just going to turn my hands. Wow, says lots of nostalgia with a layer of mourning from the A theme somewhere in the background. Yep. Yep. All right. So let's do this line here where we wind down on the accompaniment part and then take the lead. See, there's a rest there. I don't know if I've been playing the rest. I might have been playing in the rest, but I gotta remember to not play on the rest. So for this shift, I've been doing stuff wrong. So I need to shift down on my first finger and then stick my fourth finger on the D string. keep my, I'm kind of exaggerating this because I haven't been doing it. I'm being very classy here. Very classy with my pinky in the air because I'm trying to keep my pinky up. But I'm very much exaggerating. It's weird because it actually is easier to hit in tune when you get your pinky out of the way. That one Feuillard exercise that I was doing earlier is on the C string is a really good one for this. It's very similar to this situation here. I'm like way overshooting this. As much as keeping fingers too high is generally not great for speed dexterity, there's something to be said about a high prepared finger being good for cobraing your string. Yeah. To use Amit Pelled's terminology. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, but I'm definitely exaggerating. Definitely exaggerating that movement. Like that's not just to. I'm exaggerating to zero in on the right level of the right height, I guess, of where my pinky should be. This is loud, so it should be ugly. This is where we're getting into, so we've got the nostalgia, and this is getting into the part where we're starting to get we're going through that anger phase, right? That anger phase. What's up, DJ Moans One? Definitely loud and ugly, thank you. Everybody go follow DJ Moans One. He is an awesome DJ that plays lots and lots of genres of music, and he's also kind of a smartass. So if you appreciate that sort of humor, go hang out over there. Yeah. What's at the end of Spaceballs? Again, Spaceballs reference. They're like the planet at the end in the Planet of the Apes, and they're like, oh, there goes the Spaceballs. There goes the planet. Kind of. I want to let the people make their own decisions, make their own calls. Okay, you embrace it. I think I appreciate you. I wasn't dissing your sarcasm. I didn't mean to minimize that. I just saying. DJ Moans One also plays the flute, but not on stream, which is pretty cool. You are a new level. You are Moans Hole. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. What were we doing? What were we doing before I got distracted? Awesome, T. Cooper. Yeah, we kind of got like in over here because I'm a DJ, so I'm not DJing on Twitch right now, but like we got our friends from like sort of the from the DJ community, and we got our friends from the musician community, and it's nice. And then obviously we have overlap with the folks in here right now because they're DJs, but they're also musicians, so that's fun. That is fun. Which shift was I? Oh, I was working on this one. Oh, we were making it loud and ugly. See, John says here, practice reminds me how much I need to practice every day, so I appreciate your set. Well, I'm glad to help get into the practice mood, because it's not easy. Sometimes it's really not easy. Making me work. DJ Moans one. You're making me work. So we're going to actually skip this part here. We're gonna skip that part, and I want to work on this. Let's get rid of that page. I want to work on this part. This should also still be ugly. And I'm hitting my stand. Let's see what this is like at 72. Mario says, speaking of difficulties, practice, I got new strings for my guitar yesterday, which took me two to 3 weeks to take time buying some. Yeah, and then they go out of tune all the time, but they feel nice. They feel nice. It's okay if you're gonna be spending time tuning your guitar a lot. It's okay. It's normal. So, technically I'm playing the tenor violin, play the tenor saxophone, so this is all taking me back. What all do you play? What all things do you play? I know you play DJ controller, and which is also an instrument in my book. Oh, so here we changed some fingering here. So what I was doing, and Lau, I don't know if you have a preference here, but we were doing. Wait, that's actually different even. I was shifting on my third finger, and then I have an alternate fingering that is shifting on my first finger, and I think I like the first finger better. I think the third finger, I think you kind of can hide the shift a little bit more, but it's so fast, I don't think it matters. It's up bow. It's tenor, baritone, euphonium, piano, and I want to learn the drums. Yeah, I really like John's streams. John AI. I like the streams. Promise I'm not an AI. Okay, so here, I'm just working on these little sections. Wait, here we go. This is... Have a song request, please. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Do you have a captcha? Oh, habanera as done in Carmen. Oh, I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, I know the tune. I don't know it. Have you seen, I think that's the one where there's like 3 or 4 cellists like playing one cello. There's like a YouTube video. It's crazy. That might be Bolero. I think it might be Bolero, actually. It's pretty nuts though. It's pretty impressive how they thought to do that many people playing one cello. Do shift onto 1 for that section, but I also play it all on the G string and only switch to the D string on the 3rd beat of 38. If I'm in the right place. Yeah. So you do it. Oh, so you're up here. Yeah, you're doing a whole other thing. It's in D minor. I do know D minor. Is that? Is that what you were looking for? Usually I don't take requests, but I'm making it an exception for you. Okay, I murdered that, but I think some of those notes were right. Maybe. And thank you for the gift sub, DJ Moans one. I appreciate it. And we're in a hype train. Oh my goodness. What's up, Gibson Lens? Everybody go follow Gibson Lens. Gibson Lens plays the piano and just released an album. He just released an album. Anytime, my friend. Okay, so we're hyping this thing, so let's just do this. Let's just do this part. That's the part that I was skipping. Let's do that again. About the different fingerings, Lau says, I prefer the darker and grittier timbre on the string 3, which is the G string, for that section, for the anger and frustration it conveys, up to the point that it goes up into a higher register. So, like, this is what an open D sounds like. So you can hear there's a different tonal quality. So, like, and then the C string has the C string is really, really rich. It's got girth, yes. See, DJ Moans One says, I must say you've come a long way since I saw your first few streams on Cello. You've plucked your way into our collective hearts. Thank you, DJ Moans One. I am looking for my dad joke button. Where's my dad joke button? Oh, it's right in the center of my stream deck. It's got a big smiley face on it. Oh, and then we got a dad joke from SiriBot. What did the drummer name her twin daughters? Anna 1, Anna 2. It's like the Romans. Prima and Secunda. Anyway. Back to this. What were we doing? I was just screwing around on that higher part. But here, what I was actually working on, I have trouble here. So this is, I'm just going to do it one note per bow. You can see where the shifts are, but so I have trouble, like I can do the first part, I can do this. I can do that, but I have trouble keeping it going. I can do that. I can do this. And then I can also do. And then, but linking them together has been a problem. I'm going to play it slower so I don't learn, so I don't teach myself how to play it wrong. Oh, this is down bow. Thank you for that hype train, everybody, by the way. See. Lau says, if you want a very interesting timbre, try finding the A 1 octave above your A string, but high up on your C string. Oh my goodness. This one? Wait, no. This is just a regular A. Oh, DJ Moans one. I think that is probably why I got a thing. Like a thing that said a message had been removed. And I was like, what is this? I think that might be why. Okay, so now we got to find another octave. How do we... Is that even like on 1 octave higher? I know. Here, wait, let me I don't want to get my rosin in my fingers. Ugh. We need to clean up a little bit before we can try this. There. Maybe an E below that, but yeah, that's the range, yeah. So like, okay, where's an E? That's the E. Yeah, that's a lot of, you gotta work. You gotta work there. Yeah, you gotta work real hard to get decent tone on that note. Okay, so we were doing this. This is down bow. I don't even know how fast that is. Let me, do I have my tap tempo on here? No. Let me turn that on. You've heard, so Lau says, I've heard one piece that uses that range. Fazl says, Never Give Up concerto premiered by Camille Thomas with good tone and a nice slowish vibrato. It's absolutely haunting. I bet that is pretty impressive. Then it goes. Let's see what that F sharp is supposed to sound like. there. Your up bow. So let's add a little bit more. Let's add this in. I can feel my left hand tensing up, and that's not what we want. That is not what we want. So let's do this small part again. Does a stretch help if there's tension? I mean, it can, but I need to like learn to relax my body. Is the thing. A stretch can help reset yourself. And I'm terrible at stretching, as we have determined. Let's add a little bit more. I'm gonna have to go back here. I don't think I can jump in the middle of that slur. I think I'm probably need to like not do this. I think I burned myself out on this section. Let's just do it slower. I don't want to end on. I don't want to like leave this on a failed execution here. Okay, slower, but that's all right. I don't want to. What I don't want to do is I don't want to walk away and remember the mistakes rather than remembering the correct thing. So I just want to make sure that I've got that I'm going to leave on getting it done correctly. Okay. So let's move on. Like I said, I don't want to keep hammering on this section. So the way that this, actually I want to work on this part because I got the ending part. So in between there's the main melody, but it's an octave higher. And it's really loud and it's really very emotional. It is pretty cool, actually. But anyway, we're going to skip that. We're not going to do that right now because I want to work on the notes here. So on this the last like main phrase. And I just got fingerings from my teacher. So this is in tenor clef. So we've got, so we're in half position. What bowing are you? We changed stuff. Oh, we changed it so that this is all 5 notes slurred. So that's down bow. See, this is a case where I might write a bowing in a weird spot just so that I can practice it. So we got down bow. It's an up bow. Oh, here. I'll have to change. I'll have to swap out the invite link. Let me just grab one real quick. One second. I will get you a link. Where are we? Settings. Invites. Which one are you? Q easy. Oh. No, that's not what I want. All right, well, this will work. I'll have to change the thing. Oh man, you're expecting Flight of the Bumblebee with no less than 3? I can do that. I can no less than 3. I can give you hundreds. I can give you hundreds. Did you mean no more than 3 or did you mean no less than 3? Cuz like I can There you go. There you go. That's my Flight of the Bumblebee for you. But for real though, Daniel, no more than 3. Changing the rules on me midstream here. Daniel's got, I think his audition for Berkeley was Flight of the Bumblebee at like 300 BPM or something on guitar. Something ridiculous. There's a video on his YouTube page. It's pretty ridiculous. So if you want somebody that can actually play, he can do it for you. Or you can get this. That's pretty metal. That sounds pretty metal. Okay, so we're doing this part. So it was the slur here. Let me get back there. You play measures 32 and 33 of the first movement of the Elgar Concerto at a tempo and in tune. Just the 2 measures. Easy peasy, I promise. I don't even know. Like, I probably would know it if I heard it. Here, let me. You didn't say it had to be. Oh wait, at tempo and in tune. In tune. In tune might be a problem because I don't actually know the piece, but I see what you did there. As I mentioned earlier, DJ Moans 1 is a bit of a smartass. Okay, so oh gosh, there's dynamics here. So it starts out, this measure starts out pianissimo, and then it crescendos up to this note. So it's See if I can do some semblance of what you can to get the gist here. That's the peak of the loudness here. I mean, I assume, and by the way, I assume that I'm supposed to stay on the A string here. Oh, I think I am. Yeah, I think. One thing that I've kind of tried to add at my teacher's instruction is to play the dynamics. Like when I'm doing these little tiny short sections, like that was 5 notes. But even when I'm doing those tiny little sections, I need to make sure that I'm playing the right dynamics, which makes sense, but I've been kind of ignoring that. So I'm trying to incorporate that. See, Lau says it's a big fast scale, up 2.5 octaves on the A string, and one of the defining moments of the Elgar Concerto's first movement. I would know it if I heard it, but like I'm drawing a blank. I'm like not going to try and play it. I know I've heard it though. But yeah. Yeah. So the other thing too is like, so, you know, people are like, I mean, since I play cello, I don't usually get that in here. But you know, Paganini's like, people know that Paganini wrote stuff that was hard. And so people will come into chats, like when I'm modding in particular, they'll come into chats and be like, can you play Paganini? And I'm like, and then of course as a mod, I'm like, but, you know, he didn't just write the 24 Caprices. There's other stuff in his catalog. And one of the pieces, in his catalog is a piece called Witch's Dance, which is in like Suzuki book 2. So I feel like I need to like get that one, you know, really performance ready, so I can just bust out Witch's Dance and then be like, can you play Paganini? And be like, this is Paganini. What the hell is that? Oh no, that's Paganini. Yeah. I don't remember. But I don't remember where it is, but that's what it sounds like. And it's like, you could interpret it as somebody's descent into mental illness, like a mental break, is one way that you could interpret and play that piece. But it just amuses me. It just amuses me. So let's do. And then we have a 3 here. I'm going to do this with just none of these bowings. So then here... We're in tenor clef, so. Wait, no, we switched. We switched back to bass clef. I had to write that 2 in. Dang, clef switching. So now that I've switched to digital music, I mean, I could take a highlighter to my paper music, but it's a little bit less scary to do it with the digital sheet music. But I have yellow highlighter on the clef change. And you want to know the mean thing about this clef change? It's at the end of a line. So fortunately, this is actually like some person just from the music community did this all up, but they did put a courtesy bass clef at the very end of the measure, so that you're not totally surprised by it when your eye goes to the beginning of the next line. But it's sneaky, and then again, because cello. So if you don't notice that there's a clef change here, you might play this like this. Something like that, because that's how it would be in tenor. That's what you would play in tenor clef, but it's. I don't know. I'm not sure if what I wrote down is what my teacher told me, because that seems odd. That seems like a really odd fingering. To go, I might have wrote something to go. But he did also say that your second finger's doing a lot of work in this part. So maybe. Because it's a 3 there. And then that's just a really goofy fingering, and I don't know that I followed instructions properly there. So let's maybe skip that for now. I should probably highlight what's weird there. Then we do this sort of again. This is the same fingering as. It's the same. This is exactly the same thing repeated again. So let's go to the next measure. So here we've got. Oh, and then he's got me going to the C string. So maybe I'm on the wrong string. Maybe that's why this is weird. Maybe it's here. But no, that wouldn't be. He definitely means this is on the D string. Unless I'm supposed to stay on the D string. So what happens? What does it look like if we try and do that? don't think that's right either. But there is stuff on the C string, so that the end is on the C string, and then I would expect that we would probably not jump over the G string. So there's got to be something that I must have missed writing something down. So anyway, if we go to the part that's on the C string, so we've got, I'm just getting the notes here. So it would be, maybe I didn't mean the C string there. Maybe I meant the G string there. Looks like it could be a V for a 4, Roman numeral 4, or it could be just a sloppy way of writing a 3. So we've got, man, that open C at the end, that just leaves you in a really dark and depressing place, which is, it's appropriate. It's appropriate. So, but what is going on before that? Shift down to 3 so you can do 3, 2, 1 open. I have it written. I think my teacher has some interesting ways of thinking about music. He specifically gave me that 1-1, so he must like that for some reason. Unless I wrote it down wrong, which is also possible. Oh, wait. That's what you're saying. That's what it is. There's a whole step there. There is a whole step there. Let's see here. What do we do about that? What do we do about this part? If I go backwards a little bit. So then we've got... That's what it is. So it is on the D string. It is on the D string. So what does this look like? So So that's, it should be. Mixing it up with the E flat, D flat, C at measure. Oh yeah, 2-1 open. It's an E flat and a D natural. Wait, is it E flat? Yeah, because there's what Lau was talking about, the other measure, 46, 43, 48, 47. Yeah, so it goes. Oh, it's up bow. Yeah, it might be intentional. It might not be. It might be me just putting a thing in the wrong spot. I think it sounds kind of weird. Because you're going to hear a slide because there's a slur. So if he meant to have that slide in there, I think it's a little odd, but I'll ask him about it. I'm going to highlight it. And then what else do we need to highlight? I think I figured it out. I think I answered my question here, actually. So it is... So where do we... Yeah, so that's on the... This is... See, if that was supposed to be on the G string, it wouldn't be a 4. Unless it's a harmonic. But I don't think that's what he's intending. I'm just going to have to remember. I'm going to probably have to write in something to remember that extension. See, T. Cooper says, do you do original music? And if so, on which instrument? That is a goal of mine. But I have to... I've been working on improv a little bit here and there, which I think is a kind of a gateway to original stuff. And I'm like not intending on ever like putting something out there potentially. Like that's not a goal of mine, but I do frankly have some, you live life and you pick up some baggage, and I got some baggage that I need to process. So that is an avenue that I would like to pursue. I have, and I've been like, I haven't really touched it in a while, but I do have Ableton Live Suite, and I've been trying to learn music production, but it's just like, there's only so many hours in the day, and more importantly, like there's only so many brain cells available. Only got so many brain cells available, and when I've got the time, I don't have the brain cells available to like actually sit down and do anything with the brain. But yeah, that's a thing that I intend on doing. But we got John AI in chat who does original music, And I know we have Gibson Lens who does original music in chat. Yep, and with all the other stuff, sounds like you do, yeah. Yeah, so it's a thing. I got to figure out how to like, how does this work from like a logistical perspective? And then also there's like this, you know, if I want to like, I have done some music production on stream, and which has been cool. And I think I got to figure out how to structure stuff, because like there's things that I probably should do to get everything, like to get my house in order for like write out some exercises to do and say, okay, well, I want to practice these things and to learn how the software works. And then there's like that whole element of, okay, how do I tap into the stuff that is in me? And that is probably going to be a thing that I have to do off camera, or at least to start out with. So there's, yeah, it's a whole thing. Yeah. Managing life, being a grown-up is hard. It's so hard. So hard. I did some adulting before stream tonight. I've got a physical scheduled next week, so I had to fill out all my paperwork and all that stuff. Blah. Blah. Paperwork, and have to redo my bathroom tile because your grout doesn't last forever. I got some grout that's worn, that's like in a bad state, so I had to pick out fixtures and tile and paint and How long have you been streaming? Almost 4 hours. No, I think that's not what you're asking. I've been streaming on Twitch since 2020, off and on. Like I'm pretty consistent weekly, but it's in this time slot. I started DJing was what I did first, and then I added cello practice. But I am not. Any DJing for the foreseeable future will be on my Mixcloud. I do a lot more modding than I do streaming. That's for sure. I think that's a good place to end, because it's quiet hours for me now. I have to stop making noise. And I'm tired. And this has been very fun. Thank you for the chats, everyone. It's been a very chatty evening, which I have enjoyed. I enjoy the evenings that aren't as chatty, too, but I love the music nerd conversation. Okay, so let's do this. I think I fixed my raid call. We're going to do that. We're going to say goodbye to the YouTube folks. Thank you. Thank you, YouTube people. We'll see you next time.